Welcome to the Graduate Job Podcast, your home for weekly information and inspiration to help you get the graduate job of your dreams.
Hello and welcome to the Graduate Job Podcast with your host, James Curran. The Graduate Job Podcast is your home for all things related to helping you on your journey to find that amazing job. Each episode I bring together the best minds in the industry, speaking to leading authors, graduate recruiters and career coaches who bring decades of experience into a bite-sized weekly 30-minute-ish show. Put simply, this is a show I wish I had when I graduated. And a warm welcome to the 85th episode of the Graduate Job Podcast. I'm nearly 2 months into my Asia tour now, and this episode today comes to you all the way from the beautiful mountain kingdom of Bhutan. Got a very special episode today as I share with you 3 key lessons from my coaching calls over the last 2 months with my coaching clients as I help them apply for graduate jobs and year-in-industry internships. Now, I love coaching and working with people and helping them get their dream jobs. As you'd imagine, it's extremely satisfying to help people develop and to see them succeed, especially in areas where they might have struggled in the past. And today, I wanted to pick out 3 key lessons from my recent coaching calls that you can put to use on your search for a graduate job. Now, the only link you need to remember today is graduatejobpodcast.com/85, which has all the links to everything we discuss and a full transcript. So let's jump straight in with lesson 1, which is, what are your unique selling points? Now, everyone, no matter who you are, has unique selling points that you need to be highlighting on your applications. These are the facts that you need to be shouting from the rooftops to the recruiter on each application to show them just how great you are and will be for the job. Now, of course, these differ from person to person, but everyone has them. It might be your grades that you've got a first or a high 2-1. It could be your work experience. It could be your language skills. It could be the specific course you did and how relevant that is for the job you're applying for. It could be the university you went to. It could be your year abroad. It could be the volunteering you've done, the university activities you did, or the university societies you were part of. It could be the sporting achievements you have, or the dissertation you wrote. Now, the possibilities of what they are endless. Now, with unique selling points, there are 2 core activities I do with my clients. The first is to identify what exactly their unique selling points are. And the second, once we've identified them, is to make sure that they are front and centre in the CV or covering letter, not hidden away, buried beneath a mountain of text or at the bottom of page 2, where they assume and hope the recruiter will see them. But we make sure they are nice and prominent and bold so that they can't be missed. This focus on unique selling points is needed for 2 reasons. The first is that often the client hasn't actually ever thought about what it is that their key strengths are and that what they need to be highlighting to recruiters. And the second is that they often just take their strengths for granted or downplay them. Now, if you've grown up bilingual, it's just normal to you, and then you can underplay how valuable these skills are to recruiters. Or, if they have great work experience on their CV, they can assume that this is common, that everybody just has this. So it's my job to help them focus on these USPs so that we can play to their strengths at this initial application phase and also as we move to the interviews. So what can you, dear listener, do? Have a think about what your key skills are and pick out the 3 USPs you have that will be of interest to each graduate job you're applying to. These are 3 things that will make them think, yes, this is the candidate for us as they read your application. Keep in mind, though, that of course these 3 USPs could differ from company to company. Once you've got these 3 things, though, make sure that you are making the most of them, bringing them to the fore in your CV, covering letter, and when you get to interviews. So let's move on to lesson 2, which is patience. My coaching clients come to me as they want help applying for graduate jobs, and ultimately, they want results. They are investing in themselves, they are enthusiastic, and naturally, they want to crack on. Let's get applying for some graduate jobs. But one of my roles is to temper this enthusiasm, especially at the beginning, and make sure that before we head off willy-nilly pinging out graduate job applications, that they are focused on who we are applying to, and that the initial applications are as good as they can be. We're not talking that they're okay, but that yes, this is brilliant. My role as a coach at this initial stage is to often hold the clients back, as I know that what they think is good enough could be much, much better. Now, this is often the case with the CV and covering letter, where linking to lesson 1 on unique selling points, the messaging is just not clear enough. It's often too wordy, and you're not able to clearly see the message that you're trying to get across. So at this initial stage, it's about spending the time to really, really work on the CV and covering letter and make sure that they link with exactly what it is that the company is looking for, and so that the unique selling points for each client really just shout from the page and are really nice and prominent. Now, this time and patience at the beginning can be frustrating, but it is really, really crucial, and it serves my clients well further down the line. So, dear listener, what's the takeaway for you? So my tip here is, once you've completed your CV and covering letter, give it to a friend and ask them to pick out what they think are the 3 key messages you are trying to get across. Don't give them any clues, just hand in the CV and see what they come up with. See if the ones they pick out are the ones that you wanted to get across. If not, have some patience and then go back to the drawing board and go round again. Let's move on to lesson 3, which is practice the tests. So the next lesson is a recurring theme for regular listeners to the show, the need to practice psychometric tests. I was working with one client on his CV and covering letter for a graduate job he really wanted. Now, he was very excited about this one, and we had spent some time on the CV and covering letter, and they were looking really good. So he sent them off, and straight away they came back and said, "Well done, you've made it through to the next stage, the psychometric tests." So he had 3 days to do the tests, but he'd been practicing and he thought he was ready. So he gave it his best shot. And the next day, he quickly found out, though, that he had failed the numerical and situational judgment tests. And with that, it was the end of the application. Do not pass go. Do not collect £200. Thanks, but no thanks. Now, he could have been the perfect candidate, with the perfect experience, the perfect CV and covering letter, and he could have gone on to have been their best ever employee. But we will never now know. All because he failed the psychometric tests. So, the moral of the story and the lesson they learnt is you need to practice and practice and practice to make sure you're in the top percentiles for each of these tests. Now, how do you do this? By practicing not with some free tests online or the GCC notes that you've dug out, but with some paid for sites. I've linked to 3 of the best in the show notes, which you can find over at graduatejobpodcast.com/85. And these include Assessment Day, Job Test Prep, and Career Gym. Use the links in the show notes and help support the show, as they each provide a small commission to the show at no cost to you. And in each of these, you'll be able to see how you're performing against your peers, so you can see what work you need to do. Now, it's no point putting the time and energy into your applications, your CV, your written applications, if you're going to scrimp and save here. Because if you get it wrong, then you're out. So there you go. 3 lessons for you to learn, courtesy of my brilliant coaching clients, which will help you improve your graduate job applications. Now, if you would also like some expert help as you apply for a graduate job or internship, then get in touch. You only get 1 shot each year when applying for graduate jobs, so invest in yourself and your future to make sure you're as prepared as you can be. Check out graduatejobpodcast.com/coaching, which has all of the details. I offer a free initial 30-minute coaching call, so you have nothing to lose. Drop me a line at hello@graduatejobpodcast.com and we can take it from there. So, episode 85 in the bag. Join me next week when I'll be in India, and we'll have an episode for you on video interviews. I hope you enjoyed the episode today, but more importantly, I hope you use it and apply it. See you next week.